Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inshallah, today we are going to cover a time value of money within this lecture. Time value of money is one of the most important concepts in finance, especially at the time we take decision between to accept or to reject some of the projects, or to accept or to reject some of the financial decisions, to invest or not to invest in whatever. Time value of money exists when there is interest rate or inflation, positive interest rate or inflation. But with zero interest rate or zero inflation, there is no any value for the time. The future value equals the present value equals the future value. So what is the deal? The deal is about the purchasing power. With interest rate and inflation, purchasing power will go down over time, so you have to be compensated for this. So the future value has to be higher than the present value, or the present value to be less than the future value. Why we explain the time value of money? Because we have to take a lot of decisions regarding the bond valuations, the stock valuations, a lot of discount cash flow applications for the valuation of businesses, discounted cash flow, all of these things. We involve time value of money into our decisions. The comments say that $1 today worth more than $1 1 year from today. It's correct, since interest rate is higher than zero, as I told you, and since inflation higher than zero. This cup of coffee today worth 10 Egyptian pound. Tomorrow we don't know how much is this cup of coffee will cost. We don't know we're going to go to inflation or deflation over the coming time, mostly inflation. So the future value of this cup of coffee is going to be higher than the present value. We hope that we will not go to the time of the Great Depression, where the value of the time was too high. It used to say, as you used to say, that the price between ordering the coffee and receiving the coffee used to change. The price was going up like crazy at that time. We hope that we're not going to go through this. So at the time we are explaining any time value of money problem, you have to do one thing to be able to comprehend the problem, is to draw the timeline. When you draw the timeline, what we're going to do, we are going to draw it like this. We put the time over the line and we put the cash flow below the line. This is what we call it cash flow. At time zero, mostly the cash flow is going to be out cash flow. For this reason, we put the sign negative, the negative sign. If we didn't put any sign, it means this is cash inflow with positive sign. This is the beginning of time 1, year 1, and this is the end of year 1. This is the beginning of time 2 or year 2. This is the end of year 2. This is the beginning of year 3, end of year 3, beginning of year 4, end of year 4, beginning of year 5. This is the end of year 5. Okay? All of the cash flow to be at the beginning of the period, which we call it ordinary. We call it annuity due, and if the cash flow at the end of the period, we call it ordinary annuity when we talk about annuity. Okay, so if you have a problem, say that you want to buy to deposit something like $5,000 in your bank account. You are going to deposit $5,000 in your bank account. This is going to be at time zero. You want to know what is the future value of this $5,000 in 3 years. 1, 2, 3. Future value equal how much? So you are going from the present to the future. This is what we call it compounding. This is what we call it compounding. Why? Because you are going to receive interest on the interest. Say that you are compounding at 10%. What does this mean? This 5,000 is going to be 5,500 after 1 year. And this 5,500 is going to be 6,050 after another year. And so on. By the year 3 is going to be 6,050, 6,050 is going to be 6,550 is going to be $6,655 after 3 years. What is happening here? We are not going to receive on the principal only. We are going to receive interest on the principal and the interest as well. This 50, this is the 10% of this 500. And this 55, this is the 10% of this $6,050. So we go like this. If we have a future value, we know that we are in need for $10,000. Let's use another color. We are in need for $10,000 in 3 years from now, how much to deposit today in the present. We call this discounting. So it's one of two. We go from the present value to the future value, so we are going through compounding process, or we go from the future value coming back to the present value, we are discounting process, and it has to be at interest rate, say 8% interest rate. So how much I'm gonna to deposit today to receive 10,000 3 years from now, or how much this 10,000 worth today if the interest rate is 8%, and this 10,000 to be received after 3 years from now. This is the whole thing about time value of money. It's compounding or discounting. Compounding for a single amount, compounding for annuity, whatever this annuity due or ordinary annuity. What's the difference between annuity due and ordinary annuity? Ordinary annuity will take place at the end of the period, the cash flow will take place at the end of the period. Annuity due, the cash flow will take place at the beginning of the period. This is the annuity. Or we are calculating the future value of mixed stream of cash flow. So compounding for this mixed stream of cash flow. Mixed stream of cash flow, it means that we are going to receive or to pay over a period of time, certain period of time, limited period of time, certain amount of money, but not equal over time. Sometimes we receive a lot, sometimes we receive less. This we call it mixed stream of cash flow. It's not single amount, it's not annuity with the same amount every single period for a limited periods. This when we go from the beginning to the future. For single amount, for annuities, and for mixed stream. Again, we can do this for discounting for a single amount or annuities or even mixed stream of cash flow. Okay, we can calculate the present value. The whole thing, two processes that we are going through. We are going through discounting or compounding. Discounting if we have the future values coming back to the present, compounding if we are going from the present to the future value for whatever kind of cash flow that we are gonna to receive. Here, as I told you, you have to draw timeline. With the timeline, everything is going to be easy for you to comprehend. As I told you, with this timeline, the cash outflow is going to take the sign, the negative sign, and the cash inflow is going to be with positive sign. Cash inflow, this is the cash to be received, your salary, your monthly rent that you're going to receive, everything that you're going to receive, this is cash inflow. Anything we're going to pay, you're going to pay, this is cash outflow. And take care that the cash inflow for you is a cash outflow for somebody else, which we call it in accounting double entry. When you deposit your money in the bank, this is cash outflow for you. The bank will receive this money, this is cash inflow for the bank. Over time, you will receive interest from the bank, this is cash inflow for you. But this is paid by the bank, this is cash outflow for the bank. So you have to be careful from which point of view you are discounting or compounding. Okay? As I told you, the whole thing is about what? The whole thing is about future value and present value. Future value, it's about what? It's about how much it worth this certain cash flow in the future, taking into consideration three things: the cash flow, interest rate, and time period. When we talk about time, we're not talking about years, we're talking about periods. This period could be annual, could be semi-annual, could be quarterly, could be monthly, could be daily, could be anything, okay? So we are talking all the time, we are telling periods, not years, okay? Because the cash flow, the stream of the cash flow could be on monthly fashion or quarterly or semi-annual or even annual. When we go, as I told you, when we go from the present value to the future value, we are using this compounding process, okay? Compounding process, how much this amount of money to be paid or received today worth in the future. The present value, the other way around, is the other way around. We are here doing what? We are discounting. Okay, we are discounting the future cash flows to calculate how much this cash flow equal today if you want to take your decision. Here, the whole thing is going to be like this. We are going to explain cash flow. We are going to explain the future value and present value of three types of cash flow. The cash flow could be single amount, as we are going to see now. could be annuities. And these annuities, we have two types of annuities. We have ordinary, we have due. What is the difference between ordinary annuity and annuity due? This ordinary annuity take place at the end. This at the beginning. Okay? So at the end of the period, if you are going to receive all of the cash flow or you pay all of this cash flow at the end of the period, we call it ordinary annuity. Most of the annuities that we have in life, ordinary annuities, but there is a lot of other annuities that take place at the beginning of the period, which we call it beginning annuity. And for this annuities, to consider any cash flow as annuity, this cash flow has to be for limited period of time, over the same interval, and with the same amount as we are going to see after that. And we have mixed stream of cash flow. Mixed stream of cash flow, it can be like this. Here 10,000 and here 5,000 and here 7,000, and you want to know what is the future value of this. And you want to know what is the future value of this amount of money. This is a mixed stream of cash flow. In this case, we cannot apply the law of single amount. We cannot apply the law of annuities. We have to take them as single amounts to calculate the future value. Okay? Could be mixed stream, cash in or cash out. You want to calculate the future value, you want to calculate the business value. And with this cash flow, and we have the last type of cash flow, which is for perpetuity. What does this mean? That you are going to pay or to receive this until infinity. We use this. I'm sorry, I have to switch off.